Hi, welcome to vlog 24 of season 2. My ever increasingly long quest to squat double body weight. So season 2 will come to an end, I think it's around about April. That'll be 2 years having a crack at it. And the question I always get asked is, how close are you to double body weight squat? Don't know yet. Simple answer, but progress is being made. That's the most important thing. Progress is being made. So last week I spoke about how long, or the non-linear relationship it takes between getting stronger. So sometimes it happens, progression happens a little bit quicker, and then sometimes that progress happens at a slightly slower pace. So I think I showed last week where it took 3 or 4 sessions before I hit my target velocity threshold before I could move up a weight. Thankfully, after the 9th session on 85 kilos, met that threshold goal, and this week moved up to 90 kilos. I'm not going to show the data today. I'll kind of save that for next week, so it's a bit more number crunching to throw around. But yeah, so 2 sessions now at 90, and I haven't seen the same amount of drop off in velocity that I saw when I went from 80 to 85. That's reassuring because that was quite pronounced. Hopefully that means that it won't take me the full 10 sessions to go from 90 to 95. So the first 2 sessions at 90 gone from 0.54 to 0.58 meters per second. So again, even in the same week, just 2 sessions apart, some quite good signs there that progress has been made. So what I did a little task to myself this morning. I've gone back to some old training data, and the fantastic thing about using VBT and velocity-based data and the guys at Output and their wonderful app is without having to go through back and for these old-fashioned training diaries and go through page after page after page, it was quite easy for me to go back and find the last time I was squatting 90 kilos. It wasn't at 20. I've gone back a little bit in time to when I was doing sets of 10. So that's only half of the volume I'm doing now. So there is a little bit of context there. But I'm always trying to squat at the fastest velocity I possibly can. The difference being obviously that the last 10 reps should where I see the most fatigue. But the first 10 reps should be fairly comparable. In both times I'm trying to squat 10 reps as fast as possible. The difference is I then do another 10 on top of that. And I think the last time I did 90 kilos in June of 2022, so it was last summer, I averaged 0.69 for 10, and the average velocity there, so obviously range between, the average velocity, that's wrong, the velocity is kind of range between 0.66 to 0.74, 0.75, so that's a good indication therefore about whether I'm getting stronger and closer to my goal. So at the minute, those first 10 reps today that I did were around about the 0.64, 0.66 mark, and then it kind of tailed off from there. So in terms of comparing myself to where I was in June and July, I probably don't have that same level of strength as I did then. What is the difference then? So why am I saying that that's positive? Well, if I compare myself to more recently, when I kind of got back into more consistency from Christmas, that's definitely getting better. I'm now squatting 90 kilos at the same velocity I started off squatting 70 kilos. That's a 20 kilo increase over 20 repetitions. So same velocity, just 20 kilos more. So in the space of what, now into kind of mid-February, and I'll say it's at the end of December, so 7 or 8 weeks, that's a progress that I'm happy to have made. Okay, so I'm squatting the same 20 kilos more at the same velocity. That's definitely signs of progress. Have I got back to where I once was? No, not yet. But I'm also got to think about why I'm doing what I'm doing. And whilst I was to squat those numbers back in June, I'll break down again. And at this moment in time, touch wood, I don't feel like I've got a breakdown coming. I don't feel like I'm losing function. I don't feel like I'm fighting a losing battle. There's inevitability about an injury coming. I don't have any of that. For the past, I say, month, I've done 6 sessions a week. That's 3 weight sessions and 3 kind of aerobic cardio sessions. And I don't feel like I have to miss. The only thing that makes me close to missing would be kind of extraneous, like life circumstances, bad traffic, or overcommitment with work schedules or something like that, or something might happen with the kids where I can't be training all the time, but it's not a physical thing. I'm not physically thinking I don't have the energy to train, I don't feel I've got the muscle function to train, none of that. That means I feel more robust, which is the thing I wanted to get for. I feel like I could carry on doing this for a long period of time. I'm not kind of on borrowed time. And I never really, if I'm honest, never really felt like that back in the summer. I always felt like I had a niggle. I'm fighting that niggle whilst I was moving faster, and that gave me some confidence, and I maybe masked it. It's probably inevitable that I would then break down. So yeah, touch wood, I'm in a good spot. Numbers wise, I mean, the running is horrific. So I'm running as slow as ever. Probably it's not slightly slower. But I'm running once a week, so I've got to be realistic. I'm not going to have massive jumps in running speed. But what bike that seems to be growing comfortably now. I kind of knocked 3 or 4 minutes off what I was doing for 15k. So again, just trying to work on a 30-minute window. So if I was a really good cyclist and thinking about kind of 15k in 30 minutes, they might be laughing at me, but it's where I am and who I am. And anybody who listens to me, I despise aerobic activity. It's not really my thing. I find it tedious. So yeah, to me to commit to that on a regular basis is probably unheard of. Apart from the lockdown when I had no choice. So yeah, feeling good, feeling happy. Body composition, body measurements haven't taken a hit this week, but had no progress. And it was my birthday last week, so yeah, probably for about 3, 4, 5 days of last week, I was a little bit less diligent in how I was consuming nutrients. That's a really nice way of saying I ate like a pig. So yeah, to be stable is probably a bonus actually. Where really, given the fact that I had things that I shouldn't have eaten, I should have gained weight really, but I didn't. But that's probably because I had my busiest physical activity week for some time, so that's probably helped calibrate it in some way. Subconsciously my brain was going, you best move around, otherwise you can't eat that ice cream and cake and buns and biscuits that you're going to throw away. So yeah, all good. Hopefully I have some more data next week to illustrate that. But it's nice to have a look back at that data to see where I was, and then have just a kind of interpretation of the data, not just looking at it as a number, kind of thinking, well, how did I feel creating that number? And the reality was that, yeah, I felt good having done it, but I didn't feel actually at the time that it was a sustainable number to keep going with. So now, yeah, feel comfortable I'm on the path and moving closer. If you look again, just reflect back on the distance you've travelled as well. So if you're on a similar journey or you go through your fitness, it's always easy to look forward to the thing that you're trying to get. And for me, double bodyweight squat feels like an absolute mile away. Absolutely mile away. And that can be disheartening. But to look back and say, in just 7 or 8 weeks, I've gone from, I've had the 20 kilos to 20 repetitions and having no loss of performance. And having that confidence that I've gone through that kind of rigorous process and keeping to those thresholds means that I'm kind of like really confident that I have made that gain, I have made that change in strength, and yeah, see how it goes. I mean, eventually 20 repetitions will stop working and move on to other things, but I'm now more convinced than ever that means I've developed that robustness that I need to tolerate that. So yeah, hopefully next week will be more good news.